Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back. I am Mr. JP, the Games Outlaw, and yeah, this should hopefully be the first part of several installments on road building, expanding the mine, getting the oil fields going, getting the asphalt plant going, and that kind of thing. So yeah, thanks for bearing with me everybody, welcome back my subscribers, all you new viewers, thank you for joining me, and we'll get on with things. So yeah. This is the current status of the mine. Got it cleared out a bit. All of this gear in the middle here needs to come out, but the loader's been useful in clearing up behind the bagger, because when you start the run you end up with a lump that's really annoying. Anyhow, we'll get into that later on in the series. So the bagger's going along there cutting out that lump, as I have been in the last videos, but now that we got rid of these two sort of wings of material, it's a bit easier to see the sort of scale involved. 4x4 up there on the ridge, that little tiny thing. So yeah, so we've got the new lifting system that I built for this machinery. And this machinery here is expanded a bit. We've got a loader in here, the obvious hopper, a place to load up dirt for building up road surfaces where I might need it. That needs a little bit of a modification, but I'll get around to that. We've got a power plant over here that needs also a small piece of modification there. That's ugly. Not the components I'm looking for, but so that will have to do. Still a bit ugly, but it's better than nothing. Okay. As best I can. All of this block work was purely sort of design layout for a plan that isn't going to come to fruition, so it can be knocked out a little. That's better. A bit prettier. Not much prettier, and that's ugly. That needs that in there. Right. So yeah, standard machine. The lines from the bagger are coming up and in here, and between the two, these are the lines up from the hopper that's just behind us there. They just come straight up and they feed into these two hoppers as well. These go straight through to a sorter which splits it, pay dirt one way and other materials the other, obviously. So that goes down through there to those sorters and then out, and the dirt is fed back round that way and up and out of that output. The other materials go through to the refineries, which just through there. And over on this side, where I've done a little bit of adaptation, just here I've had to put in a tower splitter to allow me to put power into this section, because the entire thing was actually overloading the coal power plants. Only by a little bit, probably because I've got too large a water supply, but never mind. So this is all water supply over here for the froth tanks, and in the middle there is also another water supply here that goes up to the wash plants, and that gives an even 32 to all of the bits of kit. I don't know how much water is meant to be supplied. There we go. So yeah, the outputs from the froth tanks, their gravel goes into this cell point. Beyond it there is a set of storage units for raw materials for manufacturing, and because I was getting way overloaded, that's a single swipe of the bagger, 2 blocks forward cut, and there's a fair amount of steel come out there. The problem is the copper. We're getting a lot of that out. This unit is actually just copper. The next unit on's got iron stored in it. Something I'd recommend is what I've had to do over here. You see that this now sticks out a couple of blocks further than that one, and it used to be nice and even and symmetrical. And that's because I actually had to throw a storage thing in there so that I could inject iron into the system on the low temperature smelter to get iron ingots out so that I can make barrels. However, I've realised that these barrels really are no use to me, so yeah, figure that one out a bit later on. So yeah, tailings come out of here and over there, but I need a gravel feed to run the asphalt plant. Yeah, that's the one. I did think about installing a splitter somewhere here, which would allow a certain amount of the stone to come out through another crusher. But I've decided to go a little different, since we need oil anyway, and oil is available in this seam of sort of coal here, hopefully. If not, I'll have to find another coal seam and change my plan. But yeah, there's going to be an oil field there and an asphalt plant, and I'm going to put in a new lift from down there somewhere for the loaders and stuff to pick up the gravel from down here. That's a separate power plant powering the bagger. That will probably move. But yeah, another lift point from somewhere around here, because just around here is a point where the baggers on their natural runs that are going to be through the mine are actually going to miss. So there's a place here for a platform for a little bit of equipment, and then I can just lift the stuff out from the mine with a single sort of thing that can be adapted as we go along. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of fun. As you can see, it's not that big a mine. When you zoom out on the map to full zoom, it just disappears. But I want to get to this mountain to the north, really. Just want to see if the internal structure is different in the mountain compared to this sort of area. We shall see. So yeah, the current project is road sort of digging, and I'm going to jump my way up out of here. There we go. It's a nice little stairwell. Just for those who like a bit of realism and teleporting around the map isn't for you, I built it, and it's got a little hollow through the centre for the high voltage cables, since sharing high voltage cables and stairwells is a quick way to a disaster like that. Just duck around that high voltage cable, it'll be fine. So yeah, the hopper under here is just a sort of standard conveyors to hopper to lifter. And then the other stairwell takes us up to what I'm calling the road deck, because here I want to put in another sort of section of hopper to make it usable for really big loaders, really, and dump trucks. So yeah, it's going to be about cutting a road through here, tidying up this area so it's flat, taking the road straight through sort of between the power poles and those trees, going around the edge of the plant, going down about 4 blocks, and that should get me onto the level of that bottom deck you see down there with the little manual wash plants in it that are doing the stone polishing. And yeah, hopefully this will work out. So the nice things about building these sort of decks is you can just skim the edge and back up and in. Don't hit these red railings with an L11 loader. The back steps pop up over them, and then you can't pull forward again off of them very easily. I've done that a couple of times up here, and it's mega annoying. Mega annoying. So anyway, other things, yeah, the game's developers, in their last little announcement, have teased that there is something special lined up for next month. So, or the next update, which I don't know. They've said next week, but could be next month. I don't know. Might be this week. Who knows? I stopped trusting developers when they say it's going to be out at a certain time long ago. I don't know. Might have been some time when Bullfrog Games still existed that I got jaded. I don't know. It was a while back. But yeah, when it comes to games developers and the gaming industry in general, I tend to look on it with a cynical eye. A similar way that, ooh, depending on what that is in there, I might have an oil field up here, and in which case I might change my idea on separating out some gravel. But yeah, gaming and developers and the gaming industry in general, I think, is suffering. It's not even a lack of talent. It's more like a lack of moral talent or moral fibre. I'm not sure, but yeah, I understand why large industry will go with a safe bet on sales and just make another first-person shooter. I get that. It makes kind of sense. What I don't get is the way the public still buys into it. Yeah, there we go. But Out of Ore is one of the better developers when they say something's coming that generally is. I'm still waiting for Draglines. That's one I'm still waiting for. Likewise, I mean, the ability to build sort of quarry railways would be cool, but I don't think the game is there yet, if that makes sense. Like, structurally, I don't think the engine's sort of built for that kind of long distance haul. I don't know. Some kind of side-cutting mining device on rails would be pretty cool to be able to build, so that you can just, like, zip sideways along a face, like the longwall cutters in coal mines. But yeah, it's a difficult one, really. I'm not sure which way the game's going to go. Not even sure which way I want this game to go. Leave your suggestions in the comments, I guess. Because your guess is as good as mine right now. I used to be part of the testing community for the game, but I believe it went in-house and in-studio. But since my experience of it was getting chucked from the sort of private group that was doing the testing with no explanation. And admittedly, I hadn't been that active, but it was a little upsetting. I missed the social contact of it, even though I wasn't that active. So yeah, that got to me a little. So yeah, definitely jaded when it comes to the gaming industry. I won't be volunteering to help that much again, not without being paid. If anyone remembers the game Mercenaries 2, it's all about getting paid. Yeah, well, decided that's a better philosophy than the philosophy I was running on, so that's what we're going with. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm taking it sort of slow and easy, and that's because I'm using the GPS just to sort of cut this down to a rough kind of level. It doesn't really matter because this bit will be coming out perhaps as I extend this tip platform, but I may not use it that much, so yeah, we'll see. I'd forgotten how much fun using the little loaders is. They're just so manoeuvrable and can get into narrow spaces and stuff. They're such a giggle. Big machines are cool. They move a lot of stuff around and that kind of thing. But honestly, if you want some fun, it's getting the little stuff. A bit like in Space Engineers, you need your big ships, but at the same time, the fun's in the small ones. So yeah, bit weird. But they are a lot more forgiving of terrain inconsistencies and stuff. So something to be said for them. Should really be harvesting those trees, but there's plenty of trees on the map and I don't use much wood, so. dirt shower, fill the truck. Don't go backwards too far. You'll end up filling the bucket with dirt out of the conveyor. It's kind of counterproductive. You've already processed it once, you don't want to throw it through again. And that's what I mean by moving it across. It just might be useful to have it spread out a bit further. Fill the radiator with dirt. Might be helpful in a cold weather environment. Stop the water being frozen in the radiator by the fan. I'm glad this is pay dirt. I haven't been digging much pay dirt out at the moment, so could do with a little bit of gold. It's always nice to have. The obligatory gemstones that will come with it. Can't wait for the automatic gem polisher. That's going to be a good day. Been waiting for one of those for a little while now. Alright. Got things opened up that way a bit more. Looks like coal to me. trying to work out what else the surprise could be. What kind of surprise could the developers be springing on us? Better collapse mechanism? I know they're doing the dirt sort of texturing and stuff, so could be to do with dirt. Could be more resources and expansion of the periodic table. Could be a better map that has everything from the periodic table in it somewhere. That's about as high as I'm going to get with this little loader. Let's say. And now it probably looks like I'm just randomly digging into a hillside, but I have driven in here with the dump truck, the biggest of the smaller haul trucks, the 60 I think it is, and looked at its turning circle, and I know how much space I need, so yeah, should be alright. What I'm going to be clearing out shouldn't be that much volume, so hopefully it won't take me too long. Running on a smooth road with a dump truck over to here rather than processing it on site. Might process it on site, we'll see. But I want the road for sort of the looks value. Can't just have an industry in the middle of nowhere without some kind of transport mechanism. Just ridiculous. Trying to get a bit more realism injected, you know. But we'll see how that goes. I'm not very good at getting real. At least not at the moment. I used to be. Here comes the autosave. No more digging for a minute. Well, 30 seconds or so. So yeah, I did check out a route through there. So done a little bit of scouting and orienteering. I did remove some of the trees along the route, so hopefully I'll be able to follow it easily enough when I dig it. It is quite a backdrop, and it is quite a drop off the edge of this place as well. I've fallen on foot a couple of times, which is always entertaining, but it's a lot more entertaining with a roller or something like that. That's always hilarious. The 4x4's gone off the edge, the big loader's gone off the edge. This loader hasn't yet, but this loader's only been working up here. Previously it was working at ground level at the start of the game, so it's the original loader. You can see how long I used it for, about half an hour. Not even that. I think I used it to quickly cut out the shelf so I could get the bigger loader in, and I was off. Because I started off with all of the stuff unlocked because my company carried over, even though I did reset it, which was kind of annoying, but in retrospect it did allow me to get a fast start on this mine, so perhaps worth it. Not particularly keen on the way the overhang there is looking, but we'll sort that out later. The eventual aim of this is to go past the oil field down over there and then round and down the hill and into the mine. Kind of the manual sort of loop around the end and down, but it's a big project. It might take me a few weeks since everything's, you know, one-man work. I haven't had any multiplayer friends in or anything to help me out, so it's taking a little while. However, there isn't much sunny weather at the moment, so I'm not outside doing what I want to be doing because it's too cold for my wrecked frame that I'm trying to rebuild. I'm a bit skinny, and when I go out in the cold, it's just I can feel the any gains that I have made in my weight just fall off again at a very high rate of knots. So yeah, kind of annoying. My body uses a lot of energy and it gets ridiculous in cold weather. And I start losing weight, so I just got to stay in. Annoying. There we go. On the subject, I really should take a break and get some more food in. Kind of weird, everyone else seems to be having problems with their weight and I'm having problems, but it's the other way. I need to eat like major amounts just to put on like a single pound. Can't tip that way. Kinda handy finding this coal. I needed to restock my coal reserve. I filled up all of the generators full, and so there's quite a lot of coal hidden in those. Now I've got to fill up a storage unit before it starts tipping out into the sales thing, so this will help. Nice responsible member of the road using community just went past. Noisiest motorbike ever. Yeah, I've heard the saying loud pipes save lives, but learning to ride sensibly is probably going to do more for that. And since I've been a rider, mountain bikes mainly, but riding a mountain bike on the road and riding a motorbike isn't so different. It's just with a motorbike you've got the power, so you think you can get yourself out of trouble when in reality, most of the time putting the power down is just not going to get you out of a situation, and quite often will put you into one. Seen it a few times. And yeah, all the other road users are meant to pay attention for bikes and that kind of thing, but not putting yourself in blind spots is a good start. Why is it everyone? Why? Health and safety is everyone's responsibility, sure, but generally your own is the priority. So start by picking a mode of transport that doesn't fall over when you park it, or when you stop, because a lot of bikers are on the road for pleasure, and expecting everyone else to pay attention to you because you're out using the roads for pleasure when no one else is allowed to is a bit crazy, really. But there we go. That's legislation on the road law in this country. A place where pedestrians apparently have priority over 3-ton rolling roadblocks that will absolutely massacre you if they hit you. That's not smart, encouraging pedestrians to just step out in front of traffic with the law. The law isn't going to stop you getting turned into a pavement pancake, let's be honest. To be fair, round here at the moment in the UK, I think I could probably rant and rave about the idiocy on nearly any subject because it appears to be universal. The quickest explanation to what's happening in the UK currently is to listen to NoFX, probably The Decline or The Idiots Taking Over. It's just insane, some of the stuff that's coming out. And don't get me wrong, there's insanity going on in every political sphere. They appear to have all been on the mercury or the lead or something, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, future game-wise, it looks like I got a lot of this kind of digging to do to get a road in around the back there that's fairly level, and it's got to go downhill a bit, so. Might be time to see if I can get the larger loader in. Not a bad idea to leave that there, actually. We've got an L11. I haven't got anything else, so okay. Think about this one. Think about this one a lot. There's also probably going to be an awful lot of compacting, bulldozing, grading, all sorts going on in the future. Depressing. I've yet to experiment with the grader. It might be the things that dreams are made of for road building, or it might be some kind of hell like it used to be. We shall see. The bulldozer was kind of more effective as a grader. And now we've got the 6-way bulldozer, I believe, so you can angle the blade sort of diagonally to the left or the right. We'll see if that's some kind of improvement over the situation. It'll be good if there is. Sorry about the camera work there, or a little bit jerky. But, get this nice and smoothed out a little bit. Working off a smooth surface makes it easier to cut a smooth surface with the loaders, so it's worth doing, even though it takes a bit of time, especially when you're using the big loader because it opens up so much land so quickly. But yeah, as I say, very worth doing. Doesn't take that long on the small scale if you do it regularly. If you make it into big areas to do, you can be fairly easy to lose where you're at as you're working across them. Using some tiles and things for guides can be handy. Or parking a couple of vehicles at either end and moving them forward onto the smooth bit so you know where the edge of the smooth bit is as you go up and down, kind of like the old school ploughing engines in the traction engine era of steam. They had some interesting different ways of ploughing a field back then, by the way. Worth a look into if you like that kind of thing. So yeah, get that back in the inventory. Put in some more slabs. And it's a lot easier with the bulldozer if you want a level area to work off a set of slabs and just sort of bulldoze forward with the GPS and make sure you don't drop too low. Seems to work out quite well. Yeah, I'll have a slab in there. Yeah. That's a bit more of that there. There's a bit more there. Got a feeling it'll all get cut down a little lower with the tarmacer anyway, so but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'll leave that alone. It was working. Like anything else. Now let's see if we can get it in. This beast. I can see this not working out well, but hey. Set up the GPS there. Can I even get... No. That's what I was worried about. Now on the bright side, the back end does just about get under that hopper, so that's one less problem. Way. Guess I got caught up on that railing then. So you can see how the small loader's only got like half an hour's work on it. You can get straight in with these pretty much once they've done the work for you and you've got a flat table to work from, boof, you're in. And then there's a lot of material exiting your mind quickly. Definitely need to extend those conveyors and stuff with an excavator. I'll get round to that. Just even this back end up a bit. That's really annoying. Well, I may well be missing the hopper with half the stuff I'm dumping, but does it matter? I've got 300 million. Don't think we need to worry too much about efficiency here. It's more efficiency of effort. The most expensive thing here is my time. But it's working, so that's good. So let's tidy the back end of this up a bit. That's more comfortable. So yeah. Trees that are going to have to go. Since it would be nice to get the bigger haul trucks through here. Yeah, wood's not really worth collecting, but since I haven't done the mission yet, I could expend the experience points on getting the upgraded mission awards and doing the missions, all three of them, like one after the other. I don't know. They're currently still sat there, and they can sit there forever if I've done them before, you know. Let's open it up a little. And yes, you can get a dumper truck stuck nose down in that gully because I have done it. So yeah, the road's going to come through here on that level. It's going to be single block up, maybe two, one block up from that. It's going to be about here. Okay, so yeah, that gives you kind of idea of what the aim here is. I want to smooth this out through here as well. Maybe put in assess steps and stuff, because you can drive 4x4 through this bit here, so I might have like sort of a low road and a high road. See how that goes. Firstly, I need to put in some decorative block work here. Like that. Yeah, it all looks okay. Okay. So I've got a few bits of wood here. Go down this way. This is the coal output to pay point there. Not much in that way. Not much in that way. Of course, down here. Little wood storage on a crafting table. So yeah, that's the sum total of what I've been up to at the moment. As I say, that area of coal is hopefully going to provide me with the oil I need, but we'll see. It might end up being another one, or a combined effort. So yeah, all in all, quite a bit of progress. Quite a bit decorative progress as well. I might extend this floor one block, but currently it sort of has got a bit of a walkway down there to fall off on. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video here and see you all in the next instalment, where we shall hopefully see some progress on this road, and I shall hopefully have dug a load of that out as well. So yeah, thanks for joining me everybody, and stay safe and look after yourselves out there. Bye for now.